So I'd like to talk about something that I get super hype about, and that is year-end reviews. I don't know how many of you have these or are part of these or work for a company that has these. This is something that I've just never been able to get behind. Now, I've been a part of numerous organizations that do this very differently. I've been a part of companies that do it once a year. I've been a part of companies that do this at your hire date. That kind of is your anniversary. I've done these where they're quarterly. Honestly, I don't see any purpose behind them whatsoever. When I think about what these are accomplishing, I'm lost. I really am. I think about the things that my boss has talked to me about previously, and it's just regurgitating the things that I already know I did. I mean, that's realistically what they are, right? Most of the time, it's a celebration for whatever that time period is. If it's a year, if it's a quarter, whatever. It's for you to sit down and say, here's the things that you accomplished. Here are the things that you need to work on. Done. My thing is, why isn't that happening all the time? Why are you waiting for that specific time of the year to have those conversations? I know I'm not. If I see somebody struggling, you know what I'm doing? I'm having a conversation right then and there, because the last thing I want is for that thing to snowball into something way bigger than it really needs to be. I understand that there might be a structural piece to it. You know, we want to make sure that everybody is getting feedback, and maybe not all managers are the same. I mean, shouldn't that be already a part of it? Like, shouldn't you as the CEO or whoever you are be the one coaching that to the people below you that, hey, we need to make sure that we're always up front and having these conversations regardless of the time of the year, not just waiting for that year end. Don't get me wrong, I love to have these conversations. I sit down with my people and we're able to talk about all the great things that they were able to accomplish. And that's fantastic. But one of the things I always kind of preface this with is, hey, these are conversations that we've had throughout the year, so nothing is going to be new to you. I just want you to understand that. And there are different aspects of it. A lot of the times there is this self-review that is done. And that's great, because the people that I've worked with and report directly to me, I don't know 100% of the things that they're doing. In fact, there's a lot of instances where they're working on things with other people that I may not know about right up front. And this is a great way for me to kind of catch up on things. But I don't solely rely on just this document in order to make a determination on whether or not they were having a good year or not. But when we have those conversations, like when I sit down at the time when I'm supposed to be delivering this message to them, I will talk about the things that I really enjoyed about their year, the things that I felt maybe were an area of focus. And then, hey, you know what? What are some of the things that you want to accomplish this year? What are some of the things that you'd like to be able to be doing? We're not going to get too much into the goals piece of it. I'll worry about that and talk about that maybe in a different video, but this is not something that I want to touch on right now. So what's the fix for it? I'll be honest with you. There are numerous things that you can do. Honestly, the biggest thing that I could say is just have these conversations when they need to happen. And that should be when the moment strikes. If it's a coaching conversation, that should be happening almost immediately, because I want to make sure that they're getting the coaching necessary in order to correct whatever thing is needing to be corrected. If it's praise, I absolutely want to be able to get in front of that. I want to show them, hey, you know what? I noticed this. You're doing a fantastic job. Keep it up. I want them to know, you know what? They appreciate the things that I'm doing, and I'm going to do more of it. The best thing that I've seen so far is them done on a quarterly basis. Half of the year, that's okay. Yearly, it's almost too long, to be honest with you, because in most instances, you're only remembering what you did over the last couple months, regardless of what you say. You know, I've been a part of different companies where they put this huge document together that talks about, hey, when you're writing this review, one of the things you want to make sure is you're not doing recency bias, where you're only looking at the first or last couple months or the things that you remember right off the top of your head. I get that. That's not something you can always help. And that's fine. And again, those things that have happened recently might be the things that made the difference on corrections that you had throughout that year. And so maybe they faltered the first part of the year, but after coaching and working with you and working with other people, they were able to turn things around and really make a difference. And those last 3 months or 4 months or whatever the case may be, might be a showcase of what great things they were able to accomplish. And you do want to showcase it. Now, it's a culmination of that whole year, but again, it's really kind of hard to see all the things that really made a difference when you're looking at a whole year span. And so realistically, I think the best case scenario is doing it on a quarterly basis if you're doing some sort of a review, to be able to talk about, hey, these are the things that you were able to accomplish over the last 3 months. I think 3 months is a good time period because it does really showcase and keep things kind of contained to show like what it is that you were able to do. Most people can remember what they kind of did the last 3 months. The best thing I can say is no matter what the situation is, whether you're doing these reviews or not on a quarterly basis, half or full year, regardless, please do yourself and do your people a favor and don't just stick to those guidelines. Have those conversations early and often. Talk to your people. Make sure they understand where they are from an expectations level. Make sure they're working towards the things they need to work towards. It's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit them more so. And then that's going to also help out the business. It corrects so many different things. The ripple effect that happens when those things occur is just phenomenal. The other piece of this is the rating system. A lot of these companies have some sort of a scaling system on how you did in comparison to the role that you're in. And I couldn't be less of a fan of this approach. I don't know if there's a right way of doing it or a wrong way of doing it. I just know that I've never seen a system work when there's some sort of a rating scale. And now, what am I talking about when it comes to ratings? That's usually like you're exceeding expectations, you're meeting expectations, you're not meeting expectations, whatever the case may be. I've been in businesses where they've had a 2 scale where either you're meeting or you're not. I've had 3 scales where it's like you're exceeding, you're meeting, or you're not meeting. And I've seen upwards of 5 and 7 scale systems, which it really throws my mind into a blender. I can't even think about it. 5 scales, what are you doing at that point? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish? When you're thinking about somebody's performance, how do you depict somebody who is a 5, like super greatly exceeding expectations, than a 4 where they're really exceeding expectations, and the 3 is like meeting expectations? Like, what is the distinction between exceeding expectations and the next level up? I mean, when I'm thinking about exceeding expectations, that's usually what you're doing. You've got your expectations, and then you're going above and beyond that. I didn't realize that you can go above and beyond that. That to me seems like an odd thing to do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, though. But to me, I just don't see it. Not only that, but when you're thinking about these scale systems, they are so subjective. I don't know of a good way of measuring that. When I'm thinking about my career and the careers of the people that I've worked with, they're all doing different things. We don't just have this linear path that we're on. We're all not making clocks where I made 35 clocks today, whereas everybody else made 20, so I've exceeded expectations. It doesn't usually work like that. We're all kind of working in somewhat of an autonomous method where we're looking at different parts of the business and trying to make impacts where we can see those impacts. Sometimes I make really good impacts. Sometimes other people make better impacts. But again, when you're thinking about those two things, which is better? If I created this report which made customer satisfaction better, that was great. But somebody else reduced costs, which made employee satisfaction better. Like, what is that? They're both great, right? But which one is better? Well, it's kind of hard to say. And so should we be saying that? I don't know. You might sit there and say, well, they're both exceeding expectations. Maybe that's the case. And I'm fine with that. I'm not so much worried on the upside of the scale as I am with just the scale itself. Like, to me, I don't even understand the purpose behind it. Outside of when it comes to handing out additional compensation, maybe we're giving extra equity. I don't know. There's probably a lot of things that it probably serves, but I've never seen this serve a purpose that justifies us having these ratings in place. The craziest thing about it is that in almost every organization, we come together as a group of leaders to talk about why I gave somebody this type of rating and to discuss it amongst my peers to make sure that we're calibrating appropriately. That to me just doesn't make sense. And not only that, but we're spending so much time defining what these ratings are. I cannot tell you the amount of salary that is being used to have conversations on what I should be able to rate my people. Now, when it comes down to the rating sides of things, I think from my perspective, I should be able to be trusted to give this rating. But a problem with it is when there's compensation and equity and things like that are tied to this rating, we all have to be on the same page. Otherwise, somebody could be getting more equity and somebody could be getting less equity and things like that. I worked with my people all year or all quarter or whatever the case may be. And so I don't know of a better person to make that determination than me. And so I think those people around you should be able to trust your determinations on what it is you'd like to rate your people. Now, again, like, even with the rating sides of things, I've been a part of groups where my managers have been really, really tough. They're tough on me, they're tough on the people around them. And so it's a lot harder to reach that exceeds expectations standpoint, but they have high expectations. And honestly, I appreciate that. It kind of pushes me to do better, to see things differently, to try new things out, to see if I can do my job better or in a better capacity or work with different people. I like the challenge, but that in itself is the thing that drove me, not that I didn't exceed expectations or super exceeds expectations or whatever the case may be. Don't get me wrong. I have given people high ratings, and when I've delivered that high rating to them, to see the excitement on their face is priceless. It really is. I think it's great because it allows them to see that validation, or maybe they're getting that validation. Like, I feel I did really well, but does my manager feel I did really well? And to hear that back probably gives them the validation that they're looking for. However, like I spoke before, if you're giving them that feedback throughout the year when it comes up, then that validation is probably already there. And so there isn't that need to put that label on it. The label is really inconsequential at that point. But I'll tell you what, when that label is introduced to them, when they get that rating and they feel they performed very, very high, and they get the middle of the road, you just met expectations, well, that can deflate them tremendously. Think about it. When you've worked really hard all year long or half the year, when you've worked that hard and you don't get that validation, how does that make you feel? I can tell you from my own perspective, when that isn't there, it really can deflate you, like, tremendously. I've been in that position before where I have felt that I have worked really, really hard throughout the year and actually had tangible results to show for it, only to be told that I've met expectations. But the problem is that throughout the year, I didn't get those thank yous and congratulations and you did a great job. I didn't get any of that stuff. And so I was in that mindset of, at the end of the year, I'm going to get this exceeds expectations and then I'm going to be fulfilled. But then it didn't come. And the only thing I could think about at that point is it really worth working so hard? Or should I be like the people around me that are also getting these same ratings that really aren't putting in that extra effort? I have seen it also from other people where they have felt that they were going to reach this higher rating, but they never did. And at that point, it broke their spirit. They didn't want to really provide any sort of extra effort. And that's something that always isn't going to happen. You're not going to have this thing that you can give them that's going to make them just suddenly be motivated again. There's a lot of different things that motivate people throughout that year. You better make sure that they know how much you appreciate them. You better know what it is that they're needing as far as that appreciation. Is it public appreciation? Is it compensation? Like, whatever the case may be, that's something that you have to be thinking about. You have to know your people well enough so that you can give them the things that really drive that motivation. And when you do, and you give it to them, no matter what this rating system comes into play, it won't matter. It won't matter at that point. So what's the fix? How do we fix this? My opinion, I think the rating system has to go. I don't think it's beneficial at all. I don't think it adds any value to anybody around you. And so just talking to your people and telling them the things that did really well, the things they could have done better, what are the actions that you want to see going forward, and be done with it. And again, as those conversations are needed, it's not going to be this end of the year, end of the month, whatever the case may be. Again, if you want to set up some cadence where you can sit down and celebrate those wins, by all means. I've been a part of organizations that had this quarterly meeting where it was a celebration meeting. Like, we came together and we looked at the performance of the team and we talked about those people that really did well so they could get celebrated in a much bigger venue. And the people that needed that stuff enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, they were excited when their names were called up because of top sales, because of, best support, best team member, whatever the case may be. I think those avenues are perfect for it. You're not putting this rating system in place. You're just talking about all the accomplishments that the team had. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. So you might be saying, what do I do? I'm not running my company. My company still requires these things to happen every single year, every single quarter. And I get it. Go out and make sure your people know how they're doing all the time. Whether that's things that they're doing extremely well or whether that's opportunities that they can work on. They need to know it so that they can kind of build off of the great stuff and improve the things that they have opportunities on. That's the only way. That's the only way it's going to happen. Thanks again for watching. I hope you've been able to take away some pieces of information that will help you in your job. You as a leader can do something different in your world, and I hope you take that back. I'd love to understand your thoughts when it comes to ratings and year-end reviews. If you have any thoughts or opinions, please leave it down in the comments below. I appreciate it. If you're enjoying the content and the conversation, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. It really can help the channel out tremendously. Remember, elevating yourself to new heights starts with just one single step. Make sure you're taking that step today. Have a good rest of the day. We'll see you next time.